Welcome back to the channel, and in this one I have a very simple video for you that we're going to be constructing using Inventor. Now I will kind of preference this one by saying we will not be using the whole command. So here I'm going to kind of teach you how to sketch this out and lay it out, and then we're going to create circles to create this extrusion. So this should be one profile that I have to create, or one sketch, and then we're just going to extrude it. So let's go ahead and jump over to Inventor and get started. Okay, so what we're going to do is first by starting off and clicking this new icon here. And this is going to be millimeters as our units. So we're going to be doing a metric standard millimeter. And then I'll go ahead and hit the create button. Now, like I said, this is going to be one extrusion. There's not going to be anything super fancy or crazy about it. And this is just only going to be using the extrude command. Let's go ahead and start the sketch. And I'm going to select the XY plane here. All right, and now I'm going to start by creating a rectangle here. So I'm going to use a 2-point rectangle with the center. And the way this works is that we're going to define the center first. So I'll click on the center origin, and then I'll just kind of give it a preview. I can type in these numbers if I know them right off the bat here. And in this case I do. I can always type in 207.2, and then you would hit the tab button, and then that's going to take you to the other one, and it's off the screen right now. But I can type in 254 and hit enter, and when I zoom out, now those dimensions are already placed on it. Right, so that's kind of one of those shortcut ways, but by far most people will go ahead and create the rectangle, and then they'll come with the dimension command secondly. Let's go ahead and place these other circles on here. Another thing I like to do is I'll just start off by creating a regular 2-point rectangle here, and this is one that I'm going to go ahead and put the dimensions on later. So these are going to be for my smaller circles. I'm going to go ahead and place a dimension on this line from here over to here. And I'm going to look right off the drawing and see that that is 17.8. All right, this next one is going to be from this line going all the way over to here, which is going to be 147.2. Okay, and then I have to give it the final height of this. And let me make sure I'm not doing something wrong here, because some of these numbers, yeah, the 17.8 actually should be 60. Let's go ahead and change that number to 60. Okay, that's looking a lot better. And then I'm going to place a dimension from here going up. And this one has a height of 243.6. Let's go ahead and drag this to the outside. And we're going to put the final dimension here on the bottom, which is 10. Let's go back to the dimension. From here to here will be 10. Now, to help with some of the confusion of Inventor here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to left click and hold, and I'm going to put a window right around everything here in the middle. And then I'll select the construction icon button here, and that's just going to fade it to this. So that means that it's part of the sketch, but it will not be included in making the 3D part. Let's go ahead and place these circles here. So I'm just going to do a circle at that center, and I'm just going to over exaggerate these circles. And we're going to put them at one at each one of the corners here. All right, so I'll hit the escape button. I'm going to select this one. I'll hold down the shift button and select the other circles. Once I'm done selecting my last circle, I'll release that shift button, and then I'll hit the equal button here. Let's go ahead and place a dimension on here. And this dimension here is going to be 8.4. All right, now I need to define these other two circles that are somewhere located here. I'm going to first start out by creating a line from here going right across. All right, the next thing, and you can see this line is kind of crooked, and I kind of, messed up when I was creating this. So I'm going to go to the horizontal constraint. Now, one thing you want to do is when I select that horizontal constraint, make sure that you're getting those yellow tracking lines that's following my cursor around. It's going the same direction as this one. So I'm going to select here, and now you can see that that line is indeed horizontal. You may have done it correctly, so therefore it's straight in your case. All right, so now I need to line that center point or midpoint of this line up with the center point of here. So I'm going to choose this vertical icon. I will choose that line there and then that line. Let's go ahead and hit the escape button. And then I'm just going to drag this line up. So I'm going to left click and hold and drag it up. Now I'll go ahead and place the dimensions that I need on this line. So we're going to have a dimension from here to here. I'll go ahead and place that dimension over here, and that dimension should be 200.4. And then we're going to place a couple of more dimensions on this line. Let me zoom in. I'm going to have a dimension from here to this end point. And then this has that 17.8, so that's going to be that point that I was trying to define earlier there. And then I'm just going to put another dimension from this line over to here. And then this one is going to come out as a reference because you can see that that line is already lined up by the midpoint. So when I place this one, I should get an error message, and I'll just go ahead and hit the accept button. Now, if this number is not correct, that means that we need to go ahead and get rid of that middle constraint that's on here. But in our case, it happens to be symmetric. Let's go ahead and place these circles amongst these endpoints. Now, I don't have to do these with lines. I could have put these circles up there, and I'll show you that on the next ones. I don't have to have necessarily a reference line there. I can automatically put the dimensions of where I want these circles to be as well. So I selected both of these. I'm going to select this line, and once again, I'm holding down the shift button, and I meant to say circle there. I'll select that circle, and then this circle. Go ahead and select the equal button, and now all of these circles are the same size. Let's go ahead and select this line, do a right click on it, and then go ahead and make it construction. Okay, so with these other lines, what I did was I simply drew a line there, and then I was just kind of showing you one option of doing it. These next ones, we can go ahead and just create circles, right? So we can create a circle here, create one here, here, and then finally one here, right? And now these are the next four circles, and they're going to be in line with each other, and they're also the same size. So I'm going to select this line here, hold down the shift button. I'll select this one, and this one. Tell it that it's equal. Let's go ahead and hit the escape button. And you can see that now this one is kind of the one that controls everything. These lines are also in line with each other, so I'll use the horizontal again, and I'll select here to here. Okay, so those circles are now in line with each other, and I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'll select that center point and that one, and now you see that these two move in line with each other. Let's go ahead and change to vertical, and let's do this line here and this one, and we're going to make this one and this one vertical to each other. All right, let's escape out of that. So now all of these should kind of move together, right? You can see those are in line with each other that way, and like so with here. Let's go ahead and place them now onto this line. So I'm going to use these constraints, and this is going to be a coincidence constraint. Let's select that center point in this line, that center point here, and this line. Okay, let's escape out of here, and now we can put the dimensions on. So let's do a dimension from this bottom line here to that center point here. That's going to be a distance of 94.4. Let's put one more dimension from here to that center point, and this is going to have a height of that 200.4, right? I could have also placed this one here on the top of that line. Let's go ahead and undo this and make that happen. So I'll go ahead and undo this. Let's escape. I can use a coincidence that I can select that center point and then this line. Oh, I got to get rid of that dimension first. Let's go ahead and delete that. And then I can do the coincidence of that center point onto this line. So the last thing it's asking me for is what's the diameter here. And I'll go ahead and place this diameter. And this has a diameter of 38.3. Sorry, 38.8. Okay. So now that controls all of these. The last one, we have two more circles that are located here in the middle. So once again, you can draw reference lines, and you can use a construction option, and you can do all of these other things. And I'm just giving you a lot of different varieties of how to create this shape. So I'll go ahead and place a circle here. And now what I want you to do is try not to have these tracking lines touching anything else, as they will put a constraint on them. So you can see that this is kind of a free place. I'll place one here, and it really doesn't matter where I place the other one here. I can place it here, right? So we can control how these behave just by using these constraints. So I'll choose the vertical one. I'll place this center point in line with this center point, right? So that keeps that in line. And then I'll place this center point in line with this origin center point. Hit escape. I'll go ahead and select that circle, hold down the shift button, select this one, let go of the shift button, tell them that they're equal. And then I can put the final dimensions on here. I'll put a dimension from this line to here. It's going to be 38. And then we'll put a dimension from there to that circle. And then the height of this one is going to be 147.8. Last thing I need to do here is put the diameter on, and I can choose which circle I want to do this to. I can either choose this bottom one or the top one. It doesn't matter. I'll choose this top one here since they are equal to each other. That dimension is going to be 23.2. All right, so now I have all of my circles in here, and I want you to kind of pay attention to what we have done here. All of these solid lines are going to be what's going to make my three-dimensional part. All of the dashed lines are not going to be included. So when I hit the Finish Sketch button, and then I'll zoom back, and when I hit the Extrude button, it should automatically be able to find multiple closed profiles, right? What I mean by that is that Inventor is looking at each one of these as a closed profile inside of each one of these circles. Well, I want those to be holes in our case. So what I'm going to do is just select right in this area, and you're going to see it give me the thickness. I'm going to tell it the thickness, which is going to be 10. And then I have to tell it either which direction I want this to go. So do I want it to go forward this direction? Do I want to send it backwards? Do I want to make it symmetrical? Or do I want to make it asymmetrical, which means I can give it a distance going one direction and a different distance going the other one. In our case, we're just going to make it symmetrical. Hit the OK button. And now we're done creating this part, right? So it's very simple extrusion just using circles. Now you're going to find out that as we create more shapes here, is that there are commands that we can use to create these holes. I'm not going to necessarily say that they're faster, but there are other options. And when you go to drafting, they do have some benefits. Like if some of these holes are threaded or counterbore or countersink, it'll give you more information as opposed to using a regular extrusion. So that command that you're going to see in some upcoming videos will be the hole command, which is located here, right? So I want to thank you for watching. And as always, just keep drafting.